interruptions are happening during the show, and during intermission at 8 o'clock, there'll be a 10-minute intermission. You can go buy concessions in the lobby and like, chocolate and soda and all those good stuff. And then, if you need to use the restrooms are on that side of the building by the fountains. I really hope you enjoy the show, and I gotta go, so... Oh, I gotta go!
The meeting's about to start. I'll have to call you back. Yes, come on. Welcome. Welcome to the meeting. Welcome. Oh, welcome. We're so pleased to have you here.
Thank you.
So good to see you again. Oh, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Oh, such a pleasure having you. Wait, hold on. I'm coming. I'm getting. Oh, sorry. Oh. Hello. Hi. Hello. Hi. Hello. Hello. Hi. Hello. How are you? Hello. 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 Oh.
Good morning, Gilly.
Good morning. Oh.
This is a fairy story. The story of Cinderella and the four ugly corporation directors. Once upon a time, Cinderella went down to Wall Street, not in a golden coach drawn by 6 white horses, but in the New York subway. Ho-ho!
Order. This meeting will come to order. The 59th annual stockholders meeting is now declared in session. You stockholders, that is, of General Products Corporation of America. Now, many of you may be surprised to see me acting as chairman, but I can assure you, there's none more so than I. My seat has always been that of Mr. Metcalf, or at least where Mr. Metcalf is sitting. But, due to a great and irreplaceable loss, I have naturally, and legally too, I am informed, moved up one notch. Not that I could ever be able to fill the void left vacant by our beloved Edward L. McKeever. Big Ed, as he was called by those who loved him. Yes, Edward L. McKeever saw your company grow into what it is now, one of the largest corporations of the United States. Yes, in his 19 years as president and chairman of the board, he saw the company start to manufacture everything from pins to automobiles, from a nail file to tractors and locomotives. Yes, I can safely and surely say that if we don't make it at General Products, well then there's no money in it. And now I will hand you over to your new president, or acting president, as I should say, until you make him your new president, who will tell you what your board of directors plans to do in honor of our great former leader. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Alfred Metcalf.
Thank you, Mr. Blessington. Yes, General Products lost a good man when the president called Ed McKeever down to Washington. And you all know what happened down there. I'm sure you read all about it in the papers. Before they would give him the job, he was forced by the government to take a profit of $30 million in General Products stock. But did he hesitate? Only for a week or so. That is why we're sending him the scroll. To Edward Leon McKeever, slag hauler, furnace feeder, assembly line worker, plant manager, foreman, shop supervisor, vice president, and for 19 years, president and chairman of the board of directors of the General Products Corporation of America. With the gratitude and affection of labor management and capital. I would just like to add that in the good old days, I worked on the slag pile with Ed McKeever, and nobody ever slung as much slag as Big Ed.
Thank you, Mr. Metcalf. And now, the chair will entertain a motion to have this scroll duly delivered to Mr. McKeever in Washington. Thank you. Do I hear second?
Second!
Yes, now on to the next business of the meeting, the report of your secretary, Mr. Warren Gilly.
Thank you. As the stockholders will have found on their chairs, a little white booklet, compendium of minutes of quarterly meetings of directors of General Products Corporation. As the stockholders know, the posts of chairman of the board and president of the corporation were both held by Mr. McKeever. In the new alignment, Delegation of responsibility is proposed as follows. T. Jack Blessington from First Vice President to Chairman of the Board. Alfred Metcalf from Second Vice President to President of the Corporation. Clara Snell from Treasurer to Administrative Vice President and Treasurer. And Warren Gilly, Secretary to remain Secretary. Respectfully submitted, Warren Gilly, Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Gilly. Now, does anyone move for the exception of Mr. Gilly's report? Any opposed? None carried. And now, onto the report of the woman that you're really waiting to hear from. Your treasurer, Miss Clara Snell.
Thank you, Jack. Well, folks, I'm either the gal you'll like or dislike, depending on the size of your dividend check. Am I right? By now, I'm sure you've all found my report on how we did this year alongside Mr. Gilly's little booklet. It isn't as compact as Warren's report, maybe, but, well, you just can't do things with figures the way you can with words, can you? Let's say you and I just kind of thumb through it for the fun of it, shall we? Let's see. Oh, biscuit in here. Anyway, page 11. Assets. $138,776,523.17. Now, I'd say that's pretty good, wouldn't you?
Fine, Clara. Just fine.
Fine.
Page 32, inventory. You'll find a pretty complete list there, all the way from our raw stock and the Allegheny still plants to those little cellophane price tags we use in our Denver merchandising rooms. Pages 168 all the way through 176, gross profit, interest charges, dividend payments, and, well, folks, that's pretty much the story. I might add that now, at long last, since we have an administration in Washington who understands business, the dividend this quarter will be slightly less. Of course, that's only temporary. Your dividend check this quarter being less is temporary, of course, not the administration in Washington.
Yes, thank you, Miss Snell. Now, will anyone move for the adoption of Miss Snell's report?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the report of your treasurer, Miss Clara Snell, be unanimously adopted. Now, all the... Yes, madam, yes.
Never mind.
Do you not wish the chair to recognize you?
This chair.
Oh, I am the chairman.
Oh!
Then,
Oh, I didn't quite
you do
understand.
not wish the chair to recognize you.
Well, I did have something I wanted to ask.
Well, certainly, madam. What is it that you would like to know?
It's not really something I'd like to know. It's more of something that I don't like.
Get ahead with this, Jack.
Something you don't like? What is it?
It's this.
You don't like Miss Snell's report?
No! No, I like the color very much.
Ridiculous, but...
I'm sorry, I've never attended a stockholders meeting before. I'll just sit down.
Just as you wish, madam. Now, there's a motion.
It says here that the chairman of the board will receive $26 million next year. Is that true?
Oh, well, wherever did you get a notion like that, Miss...
Mrs. Partridge, dear. It's on page 96, right here.
I see. Miss Snell, as treasurer, would you care to answer this question?
Oh, happy to oblige. Can I hear the question again, please?
Yes, it says here that the chairman of the board will receive $26 million. Now, to me, that seems like a lot of money.
Madam, in a company of this size, that is not considered a large salary. Not a large salary by any means. I believe this answers your question.
Yes. Now, there is a
Well,
motion.
would it be awful if I asked one more little question? What does he do?
Well,
My dear lady, as an attorney, I can assure you that the office of chairman of the board is one prescribed by law. New York State Corporation Code, Section 23. Now, we have very little to say about this. We're just obeying the law.
Oh dear, I'm sure of that. Only, what does he do?
well, he presides over the board. The chairman of the board presides over the board of directors.
Oh. Now I understand. Thank you.
Certainly, ma'am. We are always
How
happy to
often
answer.
does he do that?
How often is that, Mr. Gilly?
What's that?
How often does the board meet?
Oh. 4 times every year.
And how long do those meetings last?
Oh, several hours. At least several hours.
So you would say 2 hours then.
Yes, about 2 hours. And then there's this annual stockholders meeting.
So that makes 5 times.
Excuse me. Mrs. Partridge, that's what you said your name was, yes, Mrs. Partridge?
Yes, dear.
You understand this is a stockholders meeting?
Yes?
You're a stockholder?
Yes, I have 10 shares, but I've never attended a stockholders meeting before.
I see. Your full name and address, please, miss.
Mrs. Laura Partridge, 2268 Spruce Media, 18th Street, Jackson Heights, Long Island.
Paddington!
Partridge.
Oh, no. Partridge, yes. Here it is. Mrs. Laura Partridge, 10 shares, stock certificate number 1897365.
Yes, that's the one. I have it got with me. I think I left it in my top bureau drawer.
We have many points on the agenda, madam,
Well,
so...
it says here that the chairman will get $26 million. I mean, to me, that seems like such a lot of money, considering last year you got $13 million.
You don't think I'm worth $13 million, Mrs. Partridge?
No, no! Not if we can get somebody for less. There is a sign here today that says it's a good day to attend to financial matters.
I beg your pardon?
My horoscope, dear. I'm Leo the Lion. It says cultivate friends and attend to financial matters.
I see.
Mind you, I don't really pay much attention to this sort of thing. Now that I'm here, I'm much more interested in the salaries.
Of course, we want you to be. But what is it that you would like to know?
Well, last year you used to get $13 million, and now you're going to be getting $26 million. That's $13 million more. And how much did you used to get?
That is not the point,
Madam,
madam.
I know it isn't, but let's add up just for fun. May I borrow your pen? Thank you. Now, how much did you say that was?
You'll find everything on the...
Oh, here it is! $7 million! Now, to the ordinary person, $7 million would be gracious.
Seems to be hardly a matter.
I don't mean to be a nuisance, dear, but can just anybody make a motion?
Well, certainly, madam.
Oh, good! Then I move that the salaries are too big!
Mr. Chairman, please.
Well, Miss Partridge, that is not quite the proper form for a motion. However, it would be a different story if someone were to second it.
I second it.
You cannot second your own motion,
Well, why
madam.
not, dear?
Because it is a matter of parliamentary law.
I do not care what they do in Parliament. I think that the salaries are too big, and that some of us here are the former stockholders.
Mr. Chairman, I object.
Yes,
Mrs.
the
Partridge,
salaries of our
attempting this
company are
time.
directors, and until we go back about the report, the salaries should be
Miss Partridge, the chair has decided not to act on the matter of salaries today. Now, this meeting will be adjourned. So moved.
Moved.
Second. It's been moved to say this meeting be adjourned. And everyone not carried. The meeting is adjourned. The meeting is adjourned for 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Oh, good, I can come.
Oh, marvelous.
I think I left something. All right, I'm gonna go. No,
No.
My lady, would you remain a moment, please?
Me?
Yes, I'd like to have a word.
Oh, you're going to scold me. I know I behaved badly.
Oh, no. On the contrary, you showed very fine business sense.
I did?
So much that I wonder if we couldn't take advantage of you here at General Products. How would you like to come to work for us?
What kind of work?
Well, I'm not sure exactly, but you showed a very keen insight into business affairs, and I'm sure we could make use of your potential here.
Well, to be honest, I've never worked a day in my life. I was an actress.
Oh, actress.
Yes.
I've seen you in anything.
Well, I don't know. Did you see Wilderness?
Wilderness, yes.
Yes.
I believe I did. And you were
I was one of the women.
Ah.
Such a crucial
women.
Of course, yes.
I think I remember.
You're not acting in the play now, are you?
No, I'm not.
Well, then you would be free to associate yourself with us.
Well,
Jack, how can you even be sure she'll like the work? It's very difficult.
I love it. Oh, but let's talk salary.
One more.
All right.
Miss Partridge, what would you say to $600 a week?
Oh, well, in the theater, I used to get 6 1/4.
Well, Miss Partridge, we want you here with us. So what would you say to $650?
$650. That's quite agreeable. Yes.
That's settled then. And you report to me on Monday morning on the 35th floor at 9 o'clock.
What? 9 o'clock?
Would some other time be better?
Well, in the theater, we don't generally start until 11.
Oh.
11. 11 would be quite agreeable.
Excellent.
So that's Monday morning at 11?
Yes. No, I can't go out Monday. It's a bad day for me to go out.
Yes. Tuesday then.
Tuesday. Oh, yes, it's perfect. Oh, it says start new enterprises. Huh. You know, you ought to get yourselves one of these.
Well, maybe we could just use yours.
Certainly, because whoever picked the time for this meeting. Well, it wasn't a very good day for you now, was it? Goodbye until Tuesday.
So Cinderella went to work for the four ugly corporations. waitress for $650 a week. Now, in one respect, she was just the same as everyone else. They soaked her for withholding tax, and workman's compensation tax, and personal property tax, and state income tax, and city tax, and county tax, and social security tax. Oh! And social insecurity tax.
Now I want to emphasize one thing, Miss Shockraven, one thing only. It is your job to see that Mrs. Partridge's activities on behalf of our company are kept a slide or none. Are we clear? You'll find me most cooperative, Miss Snell. Then we understand each other, don't we? You'll report to me if anything unusual happens?
Yes, ma'am. May I ask how long Miss Partridge will be with us?
Here we are.
Oh, yes!
You remember Miss Snell, of course.
Yes, I do.
Good morning, Mrs. Partridge. This is your secretary, Miss Shockraven.
What?
How do you
My
do?
secretary, come here! Oh, my! This world is fascinating. Although you haven't told me what it is I am to do.
Well, Miss Partridge, we are going to put you in charge of stockholder relations.
Ooh, how nice!
I hope you like it.
What is it?
Well, Miss Partridge, we have a great many stockholders. Well, many of them women like yourself with just a few shares. And it will be your job to keep them happy and make friends for the company.
Oh! Will I be coming in then?
Oh, no.
No, we hope not. No.
But occasionally we will receive letters, and when we do, they will be turned over to you.
Oh, and that's all I have to do?
Oh, well, that's quite a lot, Mrs. Partridge. We have almost 1 billion stockholders.
My! Oh,
Jack, the meeting for short-term debentures is set for 11:20. If we want to make it, we have to go.
Yes. Well, goodbye, Mrs.
goodbye,
Partridge.
dear.
We're very pleased to have you with us here.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, good afternoon,
Goodbye.
Mrs. Partridge.
Well, how soon is lunch?
How's that?
Oh, what's this?
This is your iPad. On evenings that she works late and chooses not to keep me on overtime, use this for your dictation.
Oh.
Then I transcribe the following morning.
And how does it work? Simply.
Turn it on, press that dictation app. That's correct. Do you have anything to say?
I don't know. The quality of mercy is not strained, it droppeth, as the gentle rain from heaven.
Excuse me, Partridge?
This is Mrs. Partridge's office.
Jenkins. Mark Jenkins. Mail service. Can I get that name?
Yes, it's P-A-R-T.
R-I-D-G-E.
First name?
Laura.
Yours or hers?
Mrs. Laura Partridge.
Miss Laura Partridge, room 2762. Any incoming mail comes in and you'll get it.
Now shall we begin?
Yes! Begin what?
Begin work.
Oh, yes! Where are those letters from the stockholders?
I haven't seen any besides.
Mr. Blessington just told me that
He said they should come in.
Oh. Well, then what do we do? Just wait?
Your schedule is clear until 11:55. All executives are required in the main lobby at 11:55 for the unveiling of a bust of Mr. McKee.
Ooh, well, that'll be interesting. Do you always wear your hair that way, dear?
I do.
Well, I know this lovely little hairdresser down on
Please,
53rd.
Mrs. Partridge. Not during business hours.
Quite right. Sorry.
Good morning, Mrs. Partridge.
Oh, hello, Mr. Gilly.
Mrs. Partridge, we're giving a dinner next week to honor Mr. Blessington on his promotion to chairman of the board.
Oh.
I would be so pleased if you would attend.
All right.
Tickets are $500.
What? $500? What are you going to have for dinner?
Mrs. Partridge, that's not the point.
The hell it isn't, dear.
Excuse
You
me.
don't-
Ah!
Where were we?
You were about to dictate.
Oh, yes. Do you have any bows, dear? I'm sure you have lots of bows. Let's talk
Mrs.
about
Partridge, I must insist upon a business relationship. It must dictate, or I shall have to leave the office.
Quite right. Dear Eddie.
But to whom is it going?
To Eddie.
But first you have to give me his full name and address. And then you can begin with Dear Eddie.
Dear, I do not know his address, and that's all the name he has. Just say,
Then how will it reach him?
I will put it in the newspaper. Go on. Dear Eddie, please do not leave the newspaper every morning, as I will be receiving a complimentary copy of work. Just give it to the kind old man who lives in the cart with no teeth. You have that down?
What? Hello, Mrs. Partridge! Mrs. Partridge, secretary speaking. And who wants to speak to Mrs. Partridge? 1 moment, please. I'll see if she's in.
I'm in.
And what does he want to talk to Mrs. Partridge about?
I haven't anything to do. Isn't it all right if I talk to him?
Not to a theatrical agent.
Oh, theatrical agent. Hello. Who's this? Tom Lynch. How do you reach me, dear? Yes, I am working again. My answering service. $6.50 a week. Well, I don't see why you should be getting 10% of that, Tom. Fine. Take me off of your list. You haven't gotten me a job in 6 years. Not even modeling. Oh.
Mrs. Partridge, I didn't know you'd been in the theater.
Really, dear?
It must have been terribly exciting, especially in the old days.
The old days, Miss Shortgraven, was strictly NG. That means no good. You would rehearse for 10 weeks without pay, and then the company's manager would just make off with the receipts. That happened to me once. And the worst part of it was, I was married to him. That was the last time I saw him. Except at the funeral. Poor Harry. Well, what was that name of yours again, dear?
Shopgraven. Amelia Shopgraven.
Ooh, I would change that if I were you.
Tell me your experiences when you were acting.
Not during business hours, Miss Shortgraven.
Quite right. Sorry.
Now, is there any way of finding out some of the names of the stockholders?
Well, there's the stockholders directory.
Would you bring it to me, please?
This is somewhat irregular, Mrs. Partridge.
Thank you. All right. Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas. Oh, we don't want anybody from Arkansas. We starve to death down there. Now, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland. Oh, we did good business in Maryland. Why don't you take a letter?
A letter, Mrs. Partridge?
Yes.
To a stockholder.
Yes. Mr. Blessington told me to make friends. All right. Miss Woodbury. Emily Woodbury. Oh, that's a friendly name, don't you think? 29 shares. She can't be rich. All right. Dear Mrs. Woodbury, my name is Laura Partridge, and I am a woman, much like yourself. Only you probably have a husband and children, and I haven't. However, I'm helping out here at General Products. Just making some suggestions, but perhaps you would have some suggestions you would like to make towards our company. Just little homey ones about our stoves or sewing machines, or maybe you'd like us to invent something. Because we have many inventors here who haven't anything to do. Do you have all that down, dear?
Yes, Mrs. Partridge.
Whoa! Yes! Well, you ever print that out for me? Oh, another fun name. Oh. Well, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Arkansas, dear Lord.
Meanwhile, the 4 ugly corporation directors were having a wonderful time. Twice a day they watered the stock to keep it fresh, and every Saturday they took a big pair of garden shears and trimmed the dividend. Oh no, you wouldn't find a nice bunch of fellows. Outside of a police lineup.
Excellent, Miss Laurier. Excellent. All right.
Mm-hmm. Just fine.
All right, I've seen better.
I have something to tell you. What? What's this?
Advertising department. She's a model from the advertising department.
We're not making bathing suits, are we?
No, one, it's not for bathing suits, it's for... What's the slogan again, Miss Laria?
My swimming pool is dug by a General Products excavator.
See? It's for excavators.
Oh, then why don't they show an excavator?
Because nobody wants to look at an excavator, Gilly.
Oh.
Thank you, Miss Laria.
Thank you, Mr. Blessington.
Say, I've just been on the phone with Mr. McKeever down in Washington.
What?
I say I've just been on the phone with Mr.
Oh,
McKeever.
shut that thing off a minute, will you please? What are you doing, anyhow?
I'm making a chair leg.
I just wish you wouldn't do it while we're talking, that's all.
Look, you've got your hobbies and I've got mine.
Yeah, my hobbies don't irritate me, do they?
Okay, don't get sore.
What did he say?
Who?
McKeever.
Oh.
What did he say?
Oh, nothing in particular.
You didn't take it up with him, Gilly?
No.
Why not?
Oh.
Don't you men understand what government contracts are going to look like this year? No? No? Last year, our gross dealings with them came to $56 billion, and since then, nothing.
Say, fellas, did I show you this new gadget? I picked it up at a novelty store.
Oh,
The glasses,
Gilly.
they light up, so you can read in the dark. See?
That's what she'll do in the dark.
Well, I thought if you guys liked it, we could buy the patent and manufacture it ourselves.
What's the slogan this time, Miss Laria?
My caboose is pulled by a General Products diesel engine.
The neck ain't right.
What?
The neck ain't right.
What's wrong with her neck?
Not hers, the oil cans. It ought to be strict. A diesel oil can has a straight neck.
Okay. I'll send a memo to Wilcox.
Okay.
Thank you, Miss Laria.
Thank you, Mr. Blessington.
Say, I have something to tell you, fellas.
About McKeever?
No. You know the Apex Clock Company, Massachusetts?
Yes.
Well, we put them into bankruptcy yesterday.
Oh, that's a splendid one.
What Apex company?
Apex Electric Clock Company, Pittsfield, Massachusetts. I found out we were taking a trimming on some clock manufacturer up in New England, remember?
Yes.
Well, we're not taking it from now on.
We buy them out.
Not me. I stole a leaf from Mr. McKeever's book, forced him out, undersold them by 50%, and kept on doing so until they cried uncle, and so after they went.
Well, that's marvelous one.
It'll look good in the annual report.
I don't know, think we should have done that?
It's a free enterprise, Al.
Still, I can't forget that we were a small company once.
Now, if you fellas are You know something? You know something, Al? Turn that thing off right when it is you have something to say so that we can hear your words of wisdom. Isn't that funny?
Okay, it's off. Now what is it?
That's a pheasant woman. Pheasant, partridge, potato, whatever.
Well, what about her? It's only been 3 weeks. We can't let her go yet.
She's costing us $1,000 a week in postage. That's what's about her.
See what I mean?
Oh, for God's sakes, Warren!
How do you know she's costing us all that postage?
I know because I looked into the figures from the mailroom. She's writing letters to the stockholders, hundreds of them.
To the stockholders.
What's she doing that for?
I don't know, some idea of Jack's.
Now, hold on. I told her if any letters should come in that she's to respond,
Well,
not to...
she's not waiting for them to come in.
What's in the letters? Did you read them?
Of course I read them. Some of them. You can't read all of them. They were...
What's she saying?
How are you, Miss Woodbury? This is Laura Partridge and lottie-dotty-dotty-dotty-dotty and stuff like that. And...
Sounds harmless.
Well, what do we want with their suggestions? Damn fool of an idea putting her in there in the first place. I mean, I have said it, and I'll say it again. That was a mistake putting her in there, Jack, and I didn't like the way you handled her in the meeting.
Now, we've been over this a dozen times. She's here now, and we can't buy her for another 3 weeks. You you wanted to show up at the meeting again and raise hell?
I just don't want to write to the stockholders. It's not safe.
Oh, what can we do about it? We can't let it go yet.
Take away her secretary. Let her write 600 letters a day by hand and see if she likes it.
Is something wrong, Miss Laurier?
I'm wearing General Products bobby pins.
Are you?
No, I'm very disappointed, Miss Laurier. I don't like it one bit. You go tell Mr. Wilcox that I don't like it at all.
Okay, Mr. Wilson.
The hell's the man thinking, sending a girl in here dressed like that? Oh, lunch? Oh!
So every day, Cinderella punched the time clock and ate watercress sandwiches in the company cafeteria. Now, one day she was sitting in her office, her little head filled with happy thoughts, and wondering whether Prince Charming would come along and with his golden coach. And as she bubbled and toiled, trying to make an honest buck, she dreamed of the day when Prince Charming would come with his glass slipper and fit it on her dainty foot. Little did she think, as she sat there, that what she was going to get was not a glass slipper, but in fact a good swift boot. Oh.
Salt Lake City, Utah. Dear Mrs. Avery, period. I was so delighted that you answered my letter of last week, period. Yes, I have been to Salt Lake City twice, once in 1984 and once in 1973, period. I do agree with you that it is quite a beautiful city, period. Mrs. Avery, I am so pleased that you are satisfied with the way General Products is being managed, period. And I can assure you that earnings will be higher for the next period, period. But remember, Mrs. Avery, if you ever have a suggestion to make towards our company, I am always at the above address. I remain your new friend, and so forth, etc., etc. Ooh. Colonel William B. Butler, 17 Ashton, that's Ashton Street, Natchez, Mississippi. My dear Colonel, I have not, Miss Shortgraven here, insert letter for men number 5, and then in the second paragraph, insert quote, I have not had the pleasure of visiting your beautiful and romantic city since 1983, but I do agree with you that Natchez is indeed the jewel of the swamps, end quote.
Formula improvement are 8,000 of them.
Ooh, it's nice to have on hand.
Like I got from what I did. The mediograph department was about ready to close up.
What, this early?
4:45, Mrs. Burke.
Oh my! Time does seem to fly. We are doing good work, aren't we, Miss Shortgraven?
I think so.
I think so too.
Afternoon, Miss Partridge.
Hello, Mark.
Hi.
Good evening, Mr. Jenkins.
You, Mr. Rankin-Strays, came in, just thought I'd come and deliver them myself.
Oh, it's very kind of you, Mark.
Thank you. It's in service is all.
Right, Mark.
Would you like to go to dinner with me Thursday night?
All right.
And then next week we need to go to the music hall because they're putting in a screen that is twice as wide as the one in the theater.
Well, next time I'm up around 53rd Street, I'm definitely going to compliment that little hairdresser.
I passed Miss the secretary in the hall. She gave me a memo for you.
All right. Thank you, dear. Miss Shortgraven! Amelia!
Yes? What is it?
They're taking you away from me!
What?
Yes, Mrs. Snell, she says there's a retrenchment policy and that you have to leave. Is it the close of this business day? Oh, that means now!
But I don't want to leave you.
What will I do, Amelia? I don't know my email address or where they keep the post Please accept my resignation. End quote.
No, Mrs. Partridge, this is a large organization. Sit here, collect your pay each week.
It's getting late, Amelia. Would you mind?
Like me to drop it off in Miss Snell's office on our way out?
Would you? Laura? Amelia, look there.
In that chair.
Oh, quite. Thank you.
This must be a copy of mine, Miss Partridge.
No, go ahead.
Hello, I'm ready. Washington. It's McKeever, all right.
Well, be nice to him.
No, nice. Nothing. Give him the facts.
Hello. Hi, and gosh, it's good to hear your voice. How are you? Oh, nothing. Just sitting in your old office here. Clara, Jack, Warren, and, yes. Oh, no, I finished the table. Working on something new. Early American.
Yeah, let me talk to him. Hey, Ed. How have you been? Oh, that's splendid. I saw you on the cover of Time last week. Thought it was very impressive.
Oh,
if I may
for
say
God.
so.
Hi, McKeever. This is Clara Snell. Sir, the fact of the matter is, we can't imagine how we haven't been awarded any government contracts yet. No. Yes, I understand that it's up to the government to get them to us, but don't you think that if you looked into it... No. Hello? He hung up. He won't even talk.
There's gratitude for you. After that $50 million million bonus we gave him.
He didn't take it.
He didn't? Well, where is it?
It's in the treasury.
Whose treasury?
Ours, of course. Whose did you think?
Oh, I was afraid you meant the United States Treasury.
I can understand him being careful, but not to award us a single government contract just because he used to head the company.
But I don't think that's very fair.
Of course it isn't fair.
Well, what do I write my stockholders about the dividend?
How about you write them that because there's a stubborn old goat in Washington this year, the dividend will be slightly less, and that's it.
I just can't do that. You see, I've already promised them that the dividend will be higher.
Tell him to blame Ed, not us.
I just can't do that. They'll be so disappointed. The little stockholders, I mean.
The little ones don't lose as much as the big ones.
We're sorry about your little stockholders, Mrs. Partridge. Honest, we are, but they're gonna have to take it as it comes. It's not coming.
Well, suppose I talked to him, told him about the little stockholders.
I'm afraid that wouldn't do any good, Mrs. Partridge.
Oh, Mrs. Partridge is mighty good at talking.
And she does represent the little stockholders. I mean, she's one herself.
You might just listen to her.
Get him back from the phone.
Not so good. She's got to talk to him face to face.
Exactly the way she's done with us.
Do you think you could do it, Mrs. Partridge? Do you think you could go down to Washington and talk to Mr. McKeever about the little stockholders?
The little ones, mind you.
Not the big ones.
Well, if you think I could do any good.
Well, certainly you could do some good. Take some of their letters along.
Yes. When would you like me to go?
The sooner the better.
Tomorrow. Could you go tomorrow?
Well, I guess so. What time?
8:30 plane. Would you mind, Miss Partridge? Just one morning at
Just
8:30?
one morning.
Yes, but what do I say?
Just tell him about the little
The
stockholders.
little the better.
Yes, but when I get to Washington.
We'll have somebody meet you at the airport and take you right to him. All you've got to do is talk.
Just
do
the way
that.
to hear.
Remember the little stockholders?
Okay, I'll do it.
Oh!
Thank you, Mrs.
Good luck, Mrs.
And
Partridge.
thank you, Mrs. Partridge.
Oh, you're welcome.
We can't tell you how grateful we all are.
I won't see you again. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Excuse me. Don't you worry about a thing. I've played Washington before.
So, Cinderella went to meet her Prince Charming. Prince Charming was 15 pounds overweight. But he did have $6 billion, which did not make him any less charming, as you can imagine. Right now, Prince Charming had the entire United States government on the back of his neck, and it's well known that the Pentagon alone is, 400 million tons?
McKeever! Clarence! What the hell happened to South America? I know it's down there, but what happened? And where are those cruisers? What cruisers do you think? The same ones I've been yelling about for the past 6 months. Well, I want a meeting of the bureau chiefs tomorrow at 8. Fly them in. I want them here. McKeever! What? The note to Putin? How do I know? Just Moscow. Russia. I'll reach him. McKeever! No, I can't give you the data on the NATO. The data on NATO. Miss Logan! McKeever! No, we can't cruise any more ships of champagne. We're trying to balance the budget. Use seltzer.
There's a Miss Moore Partridge.
Who?
Partridge.
Send her in. driving me crazy. Absolutely crazy. I'm there every day, it seems to me. Just selling down here, getting the work out. Bang! They call. Come over and answer questions. What I'm doing, what I'm not doing, why? A senator, Mrs. Partridge, is the only man on God's green earth who is allowed to talk forever without knowing what he's talking about. Nobody. Greatest time waster in the world, the United States Senate. I'm there for hours, days, weeks!
I'm really hoping that
McKeever! No! The French can't have it! I know why you're here, Miss. I know why you're here, Mrs. Partridge. I know just what you're having. The answer is no. Remember, this isn't business down here. It's not like business at all. I've made a discovery here in Washington. I'll tell you just what it is.
all right.
Honesty. Just plain honesty. Not used to it yet. Been in business all my life. And a man just can't change overnight. Anyhow, another mother soul turned the trick. But you have to be honest out here. Because if you're not, you get caught. And then you do get McKeever! Okay. For the Eskimos. So I know why you're here. I know why you're here, Mr. Partridge. I know just what you're at. The answer is no. No contract for General Products. Because if I give it to him, the Senate will be on my neck. And I've had about all I can stand.
Ooh. Well, I thought you'd be a big silent man. You are big, but you are not silent.
I've got nothing to be silent about.
Oh! Sit down in that big chair of yours and just be quiet. Go on. Fine. I would have known you anywhere. You look just like your bus downstairs.
That isn't me, that's Stonewall Jackson.
Not here, dear. Downstairs in the General Products building.
There's a bust of me in the General Products building?
Yes, it's quite good, too.
No, they didn't have to go and do a thing like that. How big is it?
It's big.
Whereabouts is it?
Well, it's right across from the elevator, so it's the first thing you see going in and coming out.
Yes.
And on dark days, there's a light that shines right down on top of your little head.
Sort of a halo.
Yes. Now don't tell me they forgot to write to you about it.
I don't see a third of the mail that comes in. And if I do get them in, the damn Senate goes...
No!
Shh. What's the matter?
Just occurred to me. You are Taurus the Bold, yes?
How's that?
Well, see, I'm Leo the Lion. My birthday was July 25th. When's your birthday?
April 7th?
Oh, good! Then you're Aries the Ram! J.P. Morgan was around, too.
I don't think I'm following you, Mrs. Partridge.
I have a hobby. Horoscopes.
Horoscopes, really? Can you tell the future?
No, heavens, no, that's silly. But Zodiac, you will be surprised how... Let's take you, for example. You're a regular Ram. It makes sense how you built General Products up to such a big company.
Mrs. Partridge, how long have you been with the company?
Oh, not long, dear.
And what company were you with before this?
I wasn't with the company before. I was on the stage.
The stage.
Yes.
You mean an actress?
Yes. 46 productions.
You don't say. You know, I've always had an idea that I'd like to have been an actor.
Oh, I'm glad you didn't. It's a terrible business, McKeever.
It always kind of fascinated me. Clyde Fitch, Shakespeare. Did you ever do Shakespeare, Mrs. Partridge?
A little bit, not much.
Must have been wonderful.
Yes, it's quite tiring. You never get to sit down unless you're a king.
I used to recite a lot when I was a boy.
Oh, did
Then,
you?
I don't know, something happened. I became a businessman.
Well, you're lucky. Almost nobody makes a living in theater anymore.
I had one recitation. They used to applaud like crazy after I finished.
You know, the applause is nice, but the rest of it.
Then Professor Sleeth, that's our elocution teacher, he had me do it for the parents and all the students at the end of the term. They put it in the paper. Spoke with real fire.
Really?
Yes. Spoke with real fire.
Well, that's a good notice.
Spartacus to the gladiators.
What?
That was the name of it. Spartacus to the gladiators.
Oh.
You know, I still remember it.
Well, that sort of thing happens when you're young and you recite something.
Ye call me chief! You wouldn't do me a big favor and listen to it, would you, Mrs. Partridge?
Oh, I'd love to.
Yes. Hell, I'm never going to be an actor now. It'd be foolish at my age, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
Okay. Mind you, I haven't done this for years. So, just say so.
Yeah. I'll
Not
let you know.
since I was a boy. Spartacus to the gladiators. Ye call me chief, and ye do well to call me chief, who for 12 long years has met in the arena against every form of man and beast that the broad empire of Rome could furnish. And yet, I was not always thus a savage chief, but still were savage men. My ancestors came from old Sparta, and settled among the vine-clad hills and citron groves of Sarasilla. My early life ran quiet by which the brook I had sported by. And when at noon I gathered the sheep and folded them and played upon my shepherd's flute, there was a friend, the son of a neighbor, who joined me in my pastime. One evening, after the sheep were folded, my grandsire, an old man, was selling a marathon, and how a little bit of Spartans, and at the file of the mountain, had withstood a whole army. I knew not then what war was, but my cheeks burned. And I grasped the knees of that venerable man, until my mother, parting the hair from my forehead, kissed my throbbing temples, bade me go to rest, and think no more of savage wars. That night the Romans landed on our coast, and I saw the bleeding body of my father cast among the blazing rafters of our dwelling. Today I killed a man in the arena, and when I broke his helmet glass, behold, it was my boyhood friend. He knew me, smiled faintly, and died. The same sweet smile that in adventurous boyhood I had marked when we had scaled the lofty cliff to pluck the first ripe grape and to bear it home in childish triumph. I told the praetor that the man had been my friend, and that I might bear away the body to burn on a funeral pyre and mourn in silence. Aye, amid the dust of the arena did I beg that poor boon. But the praetor drew back as if I were pollution, and sternly said, "Let the carrion rot. There be no noblemen but Romans."
I am certainly glad you didn't become an actor, Mr. McKeever.
You are?
Yes, because the way that you
McKeever! Oh, good morning, Senator! Yes, I'm fine, and you? Well, just between the two of us, what did you think of my report? What? Before your committee. But I was there yesterday and twice last week. Very well, Senator. I'll be there tomorrow morning at 9. Copies of all contracts. I'll be there. Well, there you are! There's a damn Senate for you, calling a man to go answer more questions. I wonder why they expect a man to get nothing done. Can you blame me? No. Miss Logan! Gotta get everything ready, every contract, every letter, and Miss Logan! Get everything ready, every letter, every contract, every memorandum. I'm up for the damn Senate again tomorrow morning. Senate!
Why do you do it, Mr. McKeever?
What?
Why don't you just quit?
What do you mean quit?
I mean, walk out and never come back. You don't have to do this, Mr. McKeever. Not if it's going to do this to you.
That's so. I don't.
No. You know, I didn't want to come out and say so, but they need you back at General Products. Though we don't dividend at all with the way those men are running things. They'll ruin the company.
Ruin the company? Mrs. Partridge, would you have lunch with me so we can discuss more on this?
Yes, I'd love to.
Miss Logan! I'm going out to lunch, Miss Logan. I'll be back in an hour. 2 hours. I don't know. Where would you like to eat, Miss Logan? Anywhere you'd like.
Well, I've heard a lot about this one place. It's
Yes?
called the Senate Restaurant.
Oh my God.
And now the 6 o'clock news roundup with Piper Parker reporting.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Here are the headlines. A resignation in Washington, a tornado in Texas, and a woman with 14 children in Alaska sells her cow. Now, let's have a look at the top story of the day. This morning in the nation's capital, businessman Edward L. McKeever handed in his resignation. Members of both parties were stunned. Senate members in particular were at a loss as to why McKeever decided to leave Washington. He departed the nation's capital late this afternoon by airplane, and he was accompanied by an unidentified friend.
A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is What Sam Brookfield bringing the 11 o'clock news right to your very own living room. At exactly 4... Oh, that's not right. Anyway, big news tonight. Still centers around the move made earlier today. A move outside Washington government. One high source administration was quarantining McKeever's abrupt departure has caused grave inconvenience in certain parties of certain parties. Anyway, McKeever had this happen so while flying over the metropolitan area, his plane was forced down due to low ceiling problem over Philadelphia. Anyway, feared at what just had occurred right then and there, he refused not to comment. But, as I was told, he was accompanied by a woman claiming to be a business associate.
Good afternoon, ladies. I have a whip on the fashion and the shopping for you in just a moment. But first, I'd like to tell you the latest development in a front-page story I know will interest you as much as it fascinates me. Edward McKeever. You all know who he is. He resigned from that big job in Washington yesterday. Well, this morning, Mr. McKeever arrived in his New York office from Philadelphia. And, this is what will interest you ladies, still accompanying him was the mystery woman who traveled with him from Washington late last night. Questioned by reporters, she steadfastly refused to reveal her identity. But, despite the mystery woman's denial, informed circles in Washington have been busy speculating on the strange circumstances of Mr. McKeever's resignation. Did he break with the administration, or did the millionaire widower leave his high post for a woman? In other words, ladies, is Edward L. McKeever, a modern Mark Antony, captivated by a wily and seductive Cleopatra?
All right, boys, let's not pictures. Let's run just the way the president does. First a statement and then questions.
Yo, McKeever, Sullivan, TMZ, Mathewson, INS.
I'm trying to just what you're after. Get out your pencils. I'm only going to say this once. Political differences had no bearing on my resignation.
I'm sorry, Mr. McKeever, that's not the story we're after.
Yeah. What about the woman?
Yeah, who's the woman?
She's nobody at all.
Nobody at all.
Just an old friend.
Where is she? What's her name?
Her name is Mrs. Laura Partridge, and she works for this company.
Yes, indeed.
Can we see her?
Certainly. We have nothing to conceal from the press. Always willing to cooperate.
Of course.
Mrs. Partridge, come in, please.
Mrs. Partridge! Mrs. Partridge! Mrs. Partridge! Do you mind?
No, not at all.
Thank you, lady.
Mrs. Partridge, how do you do?
Well, how do you do, dear?
Mrs. Partridge, you worked for the company?
Yes, she does.
Yes, I do.
Doing what?
She's in charge of
stockholder
I'm in
relations.
charge of stockholder
In
relations.
charge of stockholder relations.
Why did you go to see Mr. McKeever?
She came to see me on business, and that's all.
Strictly
I
business.
went to see him on business.
Had you known him long?
No.
No, not long. I met him yesterday.
You departed Washington yesterday afternoon.
Yes, she did.
Yes, I did.
You got here this morning?
Yes, she did.
I did.
Where did you spend the night? Yes.
Oh, my.
We were at the Hotel Bonte in Philadelphia.
Oh, on separate floors.
On separate
No,
floors.
separate
No,
floors.
separate floors.
Separate floors. Separate.
Oh, not again.
Have you seen the papers?
Have you seen the papers?
No, boy, I've not seen the papers. For the past 24 hours, I've been living up a tree.
Well, what are we gonna do about it? It's dreadful.
It's not as bad for you as it is for me. I mean, you're not married.
I don't see what that's got to do with it.
But if you were married to Mrs. Blessington, you damn well see. According to her, I took that woman to Philadelphia.
Well, like choir practice last night, the whole choir was buzzing about it. Right in the middle of the Handel oratorio.
What's there to buzz about? This has got nothing to do with the general product.
She works for us, doesn't she? The Partridge woman?
A lot of women work for us, Jack. Oh no, maybe they've all been to Philadelphia.
Just the same, it's not good for the company. We make things for the home, don't we? Have you seen the emails? Have you heard about the phone calls?
I got an idea. Why don't we take a big ad? Full page in every paper in the country.
What do we say in it?
And I think I haven't gotten that far yet.
Take a General Products diesel locomotive next time you take a girl to Philadelphia.
Well, it wouldn't cost anything. It would come off taxes. And maybe we could get the Hotel Barclay to pay part of it.
We've got to get rid of her, that's all.
We can't do that. It would only make things look worse.
If we don't get rid of her, it'll look as though we're afraid of her.
Well, aren't we?
Well, I hope you're satisfied. You got us in a hell of a spot.
This wasn't the idea of mine, Clara. Every time I go to Philadelphia, I always stay at the Bellevue
Like
State.
I give a damn about Philadelphia. It's her bringing McKeever back here that's gonna cause trouble.
You don't think he's gonna want his whole job back, do you?
I know this. He's going through the company right now, shaking hands with all of his employees.
What's he doing that for?
You know, some habit he picked up in Washington.
But if he comes back, he'll want to be chairman of the board again. Oh no, there goes my job.
And president of the company.
Oh, Val, lousy vice president again. Back to the
Oh,
masses.
come on. Now look, if the four of us stick together, we can freeze him out. We have the votes, haven't we?
True enough.
Do you think we should?
I don't like doing this to Ed.
We have to do it. You want your bonuses, don't you? Your stock options, your jobs.
Well, if you put it that
Then
way.
don't any of you weaken. McKeever's a hell of a talker.
But what about the woman? God knows what she's gonna do next.
Leave the woman to me.
Think you know how to handle her, Claire?
I know how to keep her away from the annual stockholders meeting, and that's the important thing.
How?
Yes. How?
Well, you boys have been reading these papers. I've been doing some thinking. See, there's one sure way to reach this woman. Astrology. Here's the way this thing works. Once you're born, you're done for.
Well, I wouldn't say the boys were getting greedy, exactly, but they weren't far from it. At any rate, they were beginning to feel their oats, and so with plenty of fresh cream, they did make a hearty dish. Yes, the boys were in the saddle, and they thought that nothing could stop them. But a few hundred years ago, a wise old philosopher made a very wonderful remark, one I think we should all remember. He said, Joe, you never can tell.
Afternoon.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, goodness, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. I promise it would happen again.
Oh my God, darling.
The phone has Marion sent him. You have a great many messages.
Oh, more? Those terrible headlines. Weren't they wonderful?
People magazine calls out the Cosmo and Playboy. Although I'm not sure what they wanted.
Pictures, probably. Does anyone want a photo to Van Damme? They took some lovely ones of me in 1969.
And a lot of producers and agents. Although I'm not sure they were agents for it.
Flesh, dear. Just flesh. It's been a long time, Miss Shortraven, since they've called me. Of course, it all comes a little late. Don't let life go past you, Miss Shortraven. You gotta jump aboard it while you're still young.
Mrs. Partridge? If only I could.
Amelia? Is everything okay? Oh no! Oh no! Sit up here! Tell me everything! What is it? Amelia? Are you okay? Are you in trouble? Oh no! Big trouble! Oh! Is it a boy? No! Who? Mark! No! Oh, you were so unattractive with your hair the other way. It probably wouldn't do good to put it back now, would it? No. Have you told him? Told him what? About your condition. What condition? So you're not... Of course not! How could you think such a thing? Well, Amelia, in my day, when a girl said she was in trouble, she was in trouble.
We can't afford to get married. He has to support his mother and his sister, and I don't want to live with them.
It would be crowded, wouldn't it?
Good afternoon, ladies. Excuse me. Something wrong?
Chronic dry eyes.
I see.
When's your birthday? Oh, Mrs. Snell, you don't have to give me anything.
It so happens, Mrs. Partridge, that the annual stockholders meeting has been changed to the 14th of the month, and you see here, on the 14th of the month, Sagittarius will be in the ascendancy for those born under the sign of the lion. Well, you know what that means, don't you?
Yes! You're talking about my horoscope.
Yes, see, it'll be a very bad day for you to go out. Very bad.
You don't believe me to believe in that damn nonsense, do you?
In astrology?
No, not for stockholders meetings. I see.
Mrs. Partridge, I wonder if you have any idea the position you placed us in here at General Products.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You were sent to Washington, Mrs. Partridge, to persuade Mr. McKeever to revise his attitude towards his company, and instead, you brought him back here.
Oops. Well, he was really unhappy down there. You should have seen him.
We want to protect you, Mrs. Partridge. We're very fond of you here at General Products, so we don't want you to feel that you must attend this meeting. See, you'll be stared at. You'll be whispered about. We don't want to hurt your feelings.
Well, I'd like it.
So to spare your feelings, Mrs. Partridge, we're prepared to buy your stock in the company. If you're a good businesswoman, what would you say to $50,000? That's 17 points above market value.
17, you say? You know, that was my lucky number. I signed for the best part when I was 17. The play ran 17 months.
That's fine, really. But if you'll sign this, transferring the stock to us, you can bring this by in the morning, and well, that's that.
Oh.
Here's our check for $50,000.
Oh. Well, I'm going to need much more than that if I'm going to be bribed, Mrs. Snell.
Bribed? Who said anything about being bribed?
Dear, you did. When I told this to the other stockholders. No! 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 No!
Show what to the other stockholders? Might I remind you, Mrs. Partridge, you have no witnesses.
Hope I'm not interrupting business.
Stop!
Good day, old-timer.
Old timer and Nom, I would have killed a man for that.
Stop, you say. Did you see Forrest Gump?
I didn't see any gumps in any forest. I went there for blood, dug for with my bare hands.
Mercy, did you get any?
Fellows with machine guns were ahead of me. That's where I learned my first lesson. Don't stand a chance being the little guy. But the trip was worth it. I met Chuck Norris.
No.
A bunch of bullets were whooping up in the
Yes,
barracks.
yes, yes, and then after the war.
Johannesburg, diamonds. But the more I knocked around, the more I realized can't get ahead being a little fellow. Gotta be big. So, worked my way home as a common seaman. Lashed to the mast for 72 hours. Typhoon.
Gracious.
Landed in Frisco, started my own business, lumber. 6 months later, they broke me. Trust.
Wasn't that mean of them?
No, it was business. Big business.
Oh, I see.
Oh, that's where I made up my mind. Right then and there, found the biggest suit I could fit in, and went to work at the bottom of the pile.
Slag pile. I remember.
Old timer. Should have fired her 15 years ago when I caught her taking paper clips home.
You've got to do something, Mr. McKeever. There'll be no dividends at all with the way they're running things. You have to think of the stockholders.
Are you a stockholder?
Yes, I have 10 shares.
Would you like my help?
Yes.
Huh, now you've got it. Now, to get them out. First time was easy. These boys are smart. That's why I put them in here.
Yes.
There's got to be a way. All this fair and worm business, and by God, this is bull.
Yes, I only wish I could help.
Maybe you can.
No?
Tell me, Mrs. Partridge, when they sent you down to Washington,
Yes.
they did send you down to Washington, didn't they?
Yes.
They had you met at the airport and delivered you to my office
Yes.
to get contracts for General Products.
Yes.
Will you testify to that? Will you testify to that in court?
Yes.
Then, Mrs. Partridge, we got him.
Woo!
There just happens to be a law against that, a federal law.
I know. The Mann Act.
And now, 6 o'clock news bulletins with Piper Parker reporting.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a look at the top story of the day. The United States government versus General Products Incorporated, whose top 4 officers are charged with violation of the Smith-Wadsworth Anti-Lobbying Act. The case came to trial early this morning in the federal courthouse in New York's Foley Square. Miss Laura Partridge, key witness to the government, was accompanied to the courthouse by businessman Edward L. McKeever, who the Senate charge was pressured by General Products officers. A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Roxanne Brookfield, bringing the 11 o'clock news.
At exactly 4:30 o'clock this afternoon, government's case against one of the largest corporations came to an abrupt end. A federal jury refused to indict the corporation's directors, who testified that they had not for a moment sent Miss Laura Partridge to Washington. In other news, Miss Laura Partridge was severely criticized by the jury. Yeah, the jury, saying she, being a government of a General Product stockholder herself, that she stood to influence them. In other words, upon leaving the courthouse, she was showered in a barrage of eggs and vegetables. Not all given seed absolutely fresh. Good afternoon, ladies!
So Cinderella went away from there, closely followed by representatives of the Times, the Tribune, the News, the Mirror, the Post, the Journal, World Telegram, and Women's Wear. And this should teach us all a very valuable lesson. Whenever you see a lawyer, anywhere, run like hell. Woohoo!
So under the circumstances, Mrs. Partridge, I'm afraid that's the way it's going to have to be.
You're just angry because I charged against the other side. That's why it was charging me. No, not at all.
Not
Nothing could be
at all.
further from our minds. Well, hasn't my work been satisfactory?
Yes, indeed. Very much so.
Letters are coming in every day, hundreds of them.
We know that, Mrs. Partridge.
Well, if it's another retrenchment policy, I'd be willing to take a slight cut.
I'm afraid not.
Let's just say $500, just because I like the work.
No. No.
Well, then $450 sounds good. That's equity minimum.
Mrs. Partridge, the cashier has your check in the lobby terminating your employment as of this afternoon. Now, we're very busy here, so if you'll...
Of course. Yes. And nobody else has anything they'd like to say? Nobody?
Gilly.
No. Well, I do. The way you're running this company, I wouldn't be surprised if it closes Saturday night.
Now, what does she mean by that?
Oh, what's the difference what she says anymore? There's nothing she can do.
I'm kind of worried about it.
Might still show up at the meeting and ruin everything.
Relax. After the way the judge laced into her, no one's going to listen to a word she said. No, sir. Forget that grouse woman. We're in the clear. And gentlemen, we're about to have our biggest year yet.
We are.
You bet we are. With McKeever out of Washington, we're getting government contracts again.
Are we soaking them? You know those 10 million filing cabinets we got stuck with last year?
Yes.
Well, we pressed them all flat, and we sold them to the government for fences.
What's the government want with all those things?
Activists. You can't let them run around free now, can you?
Yes, sir. Our biggest year yet. And gentlemen, no excess profit plan.
Why not?
Because there isn't any anymore, Gilly.
Oh, I just thought we weren't going to pay for it.
Great. Anybody want a drink?
Oh, I wish you would bring in your own bottles once in a while. My expense account is beginning to look a little outrageous.
$11,055 last month. Checked it myself.
Who told you to stick your nose into my business?
I am the treasurer, you know, Mr. Blessington. That's my job. Say, we didn't drink all that whiskey, did we?
It wasn't just whiskey, there were other things too. Oh, it's 4:30. Would you mind taking your drinks and drifting off into one of the other offices? Yes, Miss Condon? Please contact Mrs. Blessington and tell her I've got to stay in town tonight. Yes, thank you.
Not going to work, are you, Jack?
Here's to General Products, boys, and to us.
Are you sure nothing can happen? I'm still kind of worried about it.
Relax, Warren. She's probably got her check and is out of the building by now. To General Products.
General Products.
General Products.
10!
Are you serious?
No, Mr. McKeever.
What's the matter with you, Anne?
Take it easy. You're gonna give yourself ulcers.
I don't get ulcers. not give them.
What kind of grandstand play is this?
I want you to give that woman her job back.
Mind you,
Is that all?
the way you charged in here, we would have thought it was something important.
It's important to me.
May I go out on the limb here and ask why?
Because she loves that job and I want her to have it back.
Of course, Mr. McKeever.
You don't mean to tell me that the great Ed McKeever walked in here to get an old lady's job back?
I know it's eating you guys. The trial. It wasn't her doing, it was mine.
Then how do you have the gall to come in here and ask a favor?
I'm just telling you to give that woman her job.
You're not
back.
telling us anything.
Yes, these are your offices, not mine. You're running the company, not me.
That's right, Ed.
And
Be
don't
sensitive.
forget that
Fair, fair, you know, Mr.
For
McKeever.
old time's sake, Ed, I don't like to see you make a fool of yourself.
Take my advice, Ed. Don't make an issue out of it.
Are you boys trying to tell me the financial setup of my own company?
our company.
My mistake.
Times have changed, McKeever. You're getting a little old.
Why, you miserable!
Now hold on a minute, Ed. Clara's worked extremely hard for this company. I mean, we all have. It's all that's been on our minds day and night.
Honest to God, Jack. Aren't you ever coming?
Oh, no.
I didn't realize you were in a meeting.
Gilly!
Day and night, eh?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'll tell you what I'm talking about. Ruthie, the girl in the cafeteria who used to make the chicken croquettes. Oh, and the girl in the shipping department who had to keep coming up here to keep you informed on what kind of twine we were using. And the receptionist who got pains from sitting so long, you had to let her rest on your couch.
Really, Clara.
Yes, I don't know what Snell's laughing about. Did I ever tell you boys the night I caught her stuck in the transom trying to sneak into my office? I never did find out what you're after that night, Snell. What was it?
There's nothing for you here, Ed, so why don't you get the hell out?
You guys gave me this gold key when I went down to Washington. I don't need it to get out.
Well, things were looking pretty black for Cinderella and her Prince Charming. Not only was the glass slipper lost, it was broken into 1,000 little pieces. You probably think that virtue isn't going to win here, but don't you worry. Because if Cinderella does not end up happy, I will give you all of your money back. And there's a fat chance of that.
What is the loneliness now?
Can be as bad as one.
Imagine walking in on me like this, Mr. McKeever. I'm packing.
Yes, I know, and I'm kind of burning mad.
Why? I'm glad.
Glad I didn't get your job back?
No, I'm glad that I was here. Because if I hadn't been, I wouldn't have learned about second breakfast and things like that. Oh well.
Yes.
There's no business like business. And my idea, Gilly, is to...
Still here, are you? My idea, Gilly, is to put in wall-to-wall cabinets, floor-to-ceiling. See, we're putting in this whole new system. Very modern.
I've found that when something is over and done with, it's best to get it the hell out of the way.
Hey, let's say we go down to the basement. I'm sure we can find a nice place for that bus.
I wish I knew about 7 new words!
Oh, you'll beat them, Mr. McKeever. Your air is the ram. You're strong and forceful. Determined.
Yes. Anyway, Mrs. Partridge, the way I've been dropping in here the past few weeks, I've come to know you pretty well.
Oh,
And I've read some of the letters you've sent to the stockholders and some of the answers you've received.
right.
I'm going to come out with it and say, Mrs. Partridge, I'm going back into business. What would you think of joining me?
I'm not a businesswoman, Mr. McKeever. Not a real one, anyhow. I haven't done so well here at General Products.
General Products. It's big, but there's room for more than one big show in this town.
I know, when the Hippodrome opened, that was...
Yes. Anyhow, Mr. Partridge, what do you say? We're getting on a whole new note in industry.
I don't know.
Edward L. McKeever and Company.
What?
That's what we would call it. Edward L. McKeever and Company.
Oh, well, I wasn't a star in my last 3 plays, but couldn't we call it Edward L. McKeever with Laura Partridge and Company?
Anything you say. McKeever and Partridge and Company.
Equal billing. That's generous. I don't know.
Only, before we go any farther, Mr. Partridge, there's something I need to tell you. I hope you won't laugh at what I'm going to say.
Oh, I never laugh at you, Mr. McKeever. Oh, you mean that recitation? That was the material, not you.
Anyhow, I hope you won't be too disturbed by this, Mr. Partridge.
Well, what is it?
I'm only worth about $6 billion. But I've got a group of men who will come in on anything behind me, if I give them the word.
Oh, you mean you've got backers, too?
If that's what you call them, then yes.
Well, with all that money, what would you think about starting a little repertory theater?
Theater? There might be something in that, too.
Yes.
Would you act in it?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I could. Some of those old Sarah Bernhardt plays. They had lovely women's parts in them.
Yes. What are the men's parts like in those?
Well, on second thought, Mr. McKeever, we better forget that
She's not gonna play a big role. Leave her right away.
No, I don't think New York is ready for that.
Well, is there anything I can do for you, Mr. Partridge? Anything at all?
No.
What are you going to do then?
Well, I've made arrangements. I'm going into the Actors Fund Home.
Actors Fund Home? I couldn't let you go into that.
Oh, it's not how it sounds. You're perfectly independent there. There's lots of other actors and actresses and lots of talk about show business. I'm signing over my 10 shares, but the dividends will be mine as long as I live.
I see.
Oh, Inglewood isn't a far drive. You will come out and visit me, won't you, Mr. McKeever? Woo, that'll impress you, that character women. Well, I've got to be getting these things together. You know, I'm taking some of these letters home. I've sort of felt that they've become friends and family almost.
Mrs. Partridge, where did you get this?
It must have been one of these letters. Yes, enclosed, please find photograph of Harold. It was taken last summer in the backyard next to the garage. I'm also enclosing my proxy for the next stockholders meeting. Is that the proxy?
Yes, it is.
I generally don't bother sending them back, but since you and I have been corresponding, I feel much closer to the company. So I wrote your name in the blank space, because you are the only person at General Products I'm acquainted with. I hope it arrives in time. 30 shares.
Here's another one. Huh, 50 shares.
Ooh.
I have said this to you because I feel you have my best interest at heart, and I know that you will cast my vote for the best man there.
Mercy, I don't know what to do with these. Do you, Mr. McKeever?
Oh, that was
What's happened?
We've been fired. That's what happened. A fist fight with Miss Snell.
She laid her out cold.
Oh, that's too bad!
Why?
She didn't want me to make this delivery.
Oh.
I'll tell you, Miss Partridge. As long as I've been in Melwood, we have never had a flood like this.
Oh, it's another one of those proxies. Mercy, 200 shares.
55 shares.
160.
Mark, close the door.
Right.
300. Mark, lock the door!
Oh, here! Oh, here! So, you and that damn letter writing you had her
Now,
up.
what is the meaning of this? You're sure these are all proxies?
Of course, I'm sure. These are company property. You're not working for General.
1,000 letters right here, more coming in every
Oh,
minute.
shut up, Jenkins. You've been discharged too.
So this is where you all are.
What were we told about
Oh,
this?
shut up, Gilly, please. Just be quiet for once in your life.
4,000 letters, and they average right around 500 shares apiece.
Oh, yeah.
Aren't they the darlingest people?
Mrs. Partridge, you don't realize this, but you are in control of this entire company.
Yeah. No, get touch. We're clearly tractable. Mrs. Partridge, please, no. I understand perfectly fine, dear. Oh, no, what you doing? Oh, this means just one thing. No.
Nobody.
All of you are fired.
And so Cinderella made another trip back to Wall Street, arm in arm with her Prince Charming. Not in a golden coach drawn by 6 white horses, and not in the New York subway, but in a solid gold Cadillac, driven by a solid gold chauffeur.
Here we are at the 60th Annual General Products Stockholders Meeting. Signed, Laura Partridge, Vice President, Secretary, and President.
You We've now heard the report of the Vice Secretary, President, and Vice President. There's a motion above the House. Anyone? Oh, yes.